WrestleMania build is the worst ever. Clean out that IWC brain rot. Yeah, I don't think it's the worst ever. That's not correct. But it is not as hype as it once was when Vince was in charge in his prime, made it feel so spectacular and big. And when you really look at it last year, what made it feel spectacular and big was The Rock coming up out of nowhere and with things, if we're to believe all the dirt sheets, and right, that's their narrative. Like, The Rock isn't wrestling on this event, man, and we thought for sure he would be. And it seems like he's prioritizing others. He'll for surely pop up and show up and maybe even try and shock the world, but I think the fans will just sort of reject it because he didn't end up having his match against Cody Rhodes or defending that People's Championship or whatever. Now, I'm not saying like Dave Meltzer and all those people are right. Definitely not. And I feel like they have. Here's the thing. Nick Khan and what's that guy's name? Ari Emanuel and everybody are saying this Mania is going to blow us away. And they have this crazy plan. The Rock's even been saying it. So I do believe they have some in their back pocket for night 2 that they know, like, well, we can just do this Mania like this. Not saying like it's under delivered. Like, there's lots of stars draped throughout we haven't seen the event. It could end up being like, we could all come out of it going, oh my God, this is one of the best Manias that we don't know. But I think they do have something insane that none of us see coming. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is at all. I don't even want to fathom a guess. And if there isn't that thing, I personally might be a bit disappointed. And it's not because I'm expecting it, but it's because look at the Mania and the build to it. And I think they know they can get away with that a little bit. Because a lot of people are putting it all on The Rock. A lot of people are like, well, it's because The Rock came and everything up. I don't think that's fair to just put it all on The Rock, But really think about it. Last year, would Mania have had all the hype if he didn't just come out of nowhere? And then apparently Cody Rhodes went into business for himself and pointed at Roman when he was supposed to point at the sign or whatever. Like, let's say we're to believe all that, then, and it was all last minute, like that WWE documentary showed us, right? Then there wasn't that like, holy, it's Mania vibe really until then, the last minute. And here there's not really that vibe. First off, it feels just a little weird because I think this is the first Mania that's off of its usual weekend, right? So it just feels a little off, the vibe of it being like a couple weeks later or whatever. And then not to mention, I don't know, we're going to go over the card. And it's not the worst build ever. Like, let's be honest, there's a lot of stories that are like multi-year stories if you break them down. Or like at least a handful, like the Punk Roman Seth goes so deep. Like, that's like a deep rooted in WWE history type thing that's sort of culminating between these three. So, Cody Rhodes and John Cena, I mean, this is just the classic, like, this is Hogan Rock of like this era, this is the classic, like, passing of the torch or shock of the century. And then, Cody gets it back and eventually beats Cena or however they book it. But when Ari Emanuel was like, oh, at that Elimination Chamber, it's going to be insane, or whoever was saying that, and then look how insane it was. And they're all saying that this Mania is going to be nutty, right? Like, we have a surprise in store or whatever. And The Rock's like, no, these guys are idiots. We have a long plan. So The Rock's going to be there. I think some glass shatters, right? We get some Stone Cold. I think they have something in their back pocket that's going to blow people away. But if they don't deliver or it doesn't hit the way we're anticipating, then people might look back on this as a flop. Like, if the matches, because I'm not going to lie, bro, night 1 of WrestleMania looks like a Saturday night's main event card. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to talk, but it just is what it is. Like, if you were like, that's Saturday night main event or that's Bash in Berlin, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, okay. And I ain't on it at all. Other than obviously the main event. Like, this is like a generational triple threat match. And then also me and Husey too, and we DM about it and we're like, yo, they corrected it. Like, they didn't do a bunch of multi-man matches for the titles as just like they were like, we'll do New Day and Viking Raiders, right? And I think New Day should just get a tag match at Mania. It kind of sucks that there's no real momentum behind this. I think maybe the Lucha Brothers versus Boo Day babyface Lucha Brothers versus Bude at Mania. I think maybe that would have been hit a little harder. But at least they weren't just like women's IC. But then again, the women's IC champ is just fighting for the tag belts, right? And now everyone's like, damn, why the fuck is the IC women's champ just fighting for the tag belts? And I'm like, listen to PWT. I'm harping on this forever. Like the women's belts are just placeholders to go after the other women's belts. Like, I'm the IC champ, so I automatically can get a shot at the tag belts. Oh, she won the gauntlet. Okay, but why are her and Bayley teamed up in the first place to even be in that gauntlet? You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, oh, I'm the tag champ. We're the tag champs, so we're just in the elimination chamber. No. You know what I mean? KC2, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, and the Secret Hervis, or the Shia, or the whatever the people are calling them, they should be fighting for the tag belts at WrestleMania. No? Should that not just be the match? Or this gauntlet tag match? Have those ladies have like a 4-way ladder thing for the women's tag belts. You know, where's Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson? Didn't y'all bring them up for like a week? Have like do that as like a 4-way multi-man, because on the one night there's only 2 multi-man matches. Then on the other night there's only 1 multi-man. And I'm not even against having multiple multi-mans. The multiple man. Dun dun dun. I'm not against that on especially on like a Mania where you got to fill out, but like if there was 2, like a triple threat and a fatal 4-way one night, and then a triple threat and like a women's tag 4-way for the titles and a ladder, so I'd be cool with that. I don't know. There was no point in introducing women's mid-card titles. They got to just scrap the women's tag titles and do a cup every year. The winner, have it be like the co-main or the main or one of the opening match of the Evolution, PLE, every year. Evolution, live on Peacock or whatever, all women's show. You crown the women's tag champions with a cup, and then that way you can have random odd job teams like Bayley and Lyra just because, and then that way you can have actual tag teams. You know what I mean? I think that's the way to do it, especially if you're going to have these mid-card belts, like 2 women's mid-card belts. Unify all the belts, let the champs go on all the shows, and that's how you solve this problem. Champs can go on both brands. Everyone else, hard split. All belts unified. US and IC are the only brand exclusive belts for their shows. That's how you solve all of this. But for some reason, and especially with 2-night WrestleManias, it should be so easy to have, here's our Raw Mania, here's our SmackDown Mania, or like here's half and half, you know? But for some reason, man, it just seems like maybe people pull. Obviously, Kevin Owens getting hurt up too, so we don't know Randy's opponent. Like, that was a match with some real heat that's kind of gone. That's not there. But yeah, for all these sickos who say, I'm just an E-drone, here I am, clip this. I'm talking about WrestleMania. We're talking about it now. We'll just pull up the card. WrestleMania. We'll just talk about the card quickly. So this night 1, right? Bar this triple threat main event, which why is it after the world title match? Like, why wouldn't it just, because all the crazy's going to happen. There's going to be crazy. Brock Lesnar's going to come back and get his revenge because of the time that Seth robbed WrestleMania from Brock and Heyman and blah, 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 or something. That's what's going to happen. Brock's going to come back and F5 everybody, and we're going to be like, what the? And then we have like a 4-way cooking between these guys. Okay, and then one of them wins Money in the Bank and then gets that world heavyweight title or something off of Jay or something. We're just fantasy Mark booking here, but one night I feel like we're going to be depressed. One night we're going to be very happy. And that's why I leave my picks till the last second, especially with Mania, because what matches they put on night 1 can sometimes indicate what might happen night 2. As far as like, oh yeah, they're going to send us home happy if this happens or whatever. You know, you can sometimes decipher it. Not that I want to spoil it all, but we psychoanalyze things here at PWT. The P is for psychoanalyze. So Gunther and Jey Uso, yeet. I mean, I'm hyped for that. So those 2 matches I'm uber hyped for. Tiffy and Flair, I'm super hyped for. I'm not going to lie. They got such good heat on, and I think they're going to cook. And people, oh boy, are we going to get into what Brian Alvarez and Dave had to say about this whole thing. Meanwhile, they're just working us all. LA Knight taking on Jacob Fatu. That's an awesome match. it just feels clunked together last minute, kind of. I think Jacob Solo, or it seems like Solo might be the guy to take on Randy as well now, and not Nick Aldis or whatever. Jacob versus LA Knight. Do they crown Jacob? There's a really good chance they do. Although LA Knight's super over, but we can't just be like everyone who's over, because like LA Knight does not hurt from losses. He could lose or win. It doesn't matter. He doesn't even need a belt. He's just so over. So Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. It's mask versus mask, I think that's what they said, right? And my whole thing is like, they could have did this on the SmackDown before. I guess it'll be like a WrestleMania moment where El Grande got unmasked and the luchadors took turns whooping his ass or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that could be what they're going for with that. So I'm here for it. Maybe Snoop Dogg comes out and like, no. Bad Bunny returns. Oh, and then the place would erupt, and then but he's doing like the Mexican bit, and I think Bad Bunny is like Puerto Rican, right? If I'm not mistaken on that. Someone can correct me in chat. Jade versus Naomi. I'm hyped for that match. God damn. Like Naomi's just doing brilliant promo work and vignette work. Okay. And then you have the Bude versus War Raiders, and it's like, brother. Here's the thing, though. We can't really put this on WWE. We didn't know that the Lucha Brothers, like, we didn't know Rey Fenix was going to get released out of nowhere, right? Tony just pulled some shit and released him out of nowhere because he didn't want to get sued or something. And so Viking Raiders or War Raiders, whatever, they're like a good menacing team or whatever, but they're like the baby faces in this whole thing, and there's no real momentum behind them, as I said before. So I think when Rey came in, obviously they saw how Penta blew up, and they're like, well, why would we that up by tagging them up? Let's just give them a solo run, and then putting Rey on SmackDown and acknowledging their brothers, but they're on different brands, and then trying to replicate or duplicate with Rey. And then once that is sort of tired out, then you can put them together, and then they can have a generational tag run. I get what they're doing. And maybe it's hotshot booking, but maybe it would have served more to be like, the Lucha Bros are here against Bude. I don't know. Maybe that would have been fun. Moving along to night 2. So night 1 is like, okay, that's fun. So Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. I mean, that's a generational matchup. There's going to be insane heat. The crowd's going to be nuts for this, hopefully. Priest versus Drew, they're really trying to beat us over the head with like, this is a feud that's been going for a year. It's like, I guess, kind of, I guess. Oh, also it should be said, with the whole Punk thing too, they almost retconned Heyman's betrayal of Punk. If you guys notice on SmackDown, I saw someone tweeted that out, and it dawned on me too. I was like, oh yeah, they kind of just left that out of the vignette. Heyman's like a brother, a father to me, and all this. Drew and Priest is like, okay, we have these two guys. We didn't have for either of them. Somehow Drew gets left out of the 3-way, which it's like he could have went in there as a 4-way, because think about it, he hugged Cody Rhodes for dethroning Roman. He hates Roman and breaking up the bloodline. Or whatever, and he hates Roman. He hates Punk. We know he doesn't. Him and Seth have like that odd couple, like where he's trying to tempt Seth, but he'll attack Seth and beat the shit out of him. So why isn't Drew in that match? Pourquoi? Because they needed something for Damian. And it's like, well, God damn it, kid. Damian's the odd guy out, I feel like, who this up a bit. But also, if The Rock was back, we probably would have got like Cody Rhodes in there. This wouldn't be an issue. We'd have like Cody Rhodes versus The Rock instead of like Cena, or like he'd have to fight The Rock night 1 and then Cena night 2, and then, or maybe like Roman would fight The Rock or something. Like, you know what I mean? There would be another element where the matches would be shuffled a bit, but The Rock's not on the card. So I don't know, man. I feel like Drew should be in that 4-way, and it should be a 4-way, right? But it is what it is. I'm not trying to complain about everything and bury it. That'll be a good heavy hitter Haas match, Randy Orton, mystery opponent. Nick Aldis would be cool, permitted he's healthy and everything, which I don't see why he wouldn't be. But also, I think Solo. Like, where's Solo? He's not even on the card, so I think Solo beats Randy Orton at WrestleMania the way he beat Cena, and they're going to keep sort of pushing Solo. And I think they need to get Jacob and Solo over with, and they need to get them away from each other, running their own little factions of bloodlines on like different shows for now. I don't even want to see them go to war. I got to be honest, man, because Jacob just outshines Solo a bit. And then Solo, Solo and Tama are great together, and then when Tonga comes back, that'll be awesome. But Jacob just sort of He's just in a league of his own to where he's got to, like, he has a goddamn WrestleMania match and Solo doesn't. And Solo was the guy who is like almost going to take the title off Roman type, you know, and take the Ulafala from Roman. So it's just crazy this year how things have really changed in a way that we didn't think. And some of it is, I don't know. I don't want to say Solo's diminished, but like he's showing more of what he's capable of doing in ring and on the mic. But that being said, like, he doesn't even have a match. He's going to come out and fight Randy last minute because KO's not there. Otherwise, what was Solo going to do? But anyways, AJ versus Logan Paul is going to steal the show. I think that's going to cook. I think this four-way with Dom, Finn, Breaker, and Braun is going to be so fun. And I think people are looking at it like, but I think it's perfect. You have an American kid who's got Mexican heritage. You have an all-American who's the IC champ. You have a Mexican dude from Mexico in Penta, and you have an Irishman in Finn Balor. I believe he's Irish. So that's a great four-way there for the IC title, and I think they're really going to cook in that match. I'm not giving picks yet. These are just me reviewing or giving my thoughts on the lead up and, you know, what the matches are going to be like. And then we have the tag titles, Liv and Raquel versus Bailey and Lyra. Okay. All right. You know, I just like, what the is that? That's so bad that they couldn't have figured out something better. And then Io, Bianca, and Rhea. I love this. Bianca and Rhea, I think, is the money match, but with such a bloated roster, you got to put Io in there. And then they worked she's an afterthought, like, into the storyline, which was brilliant, I thought, and they owned it. And I think Io deserves this. Like, she is the workhorse of the women's division, man. And whether it's tag, heel, babyface, singles run, mid-card tournament, world champion, she puts the team on her back. So Bianca's going to go full heel with whatever she does to win the title and leave WrestleMania with this title. I wouldn't be shocked if something happens with Jade or Naomi, like crossover, like if Bianca gets involved in Jade and Naomi, or if Jade and or Naomi get involved in this three-way somehow. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if we see a Kairi Sane return. And maybe Asuka. I'm actually not sure. I know she got up pretty bad. Kairi, I think, is like ready. You know, she's been in the hyperbolic time chamber long enough. She looks 5 years younger and is shredded like Eddie right now. I think if we see Kairi come back, maybe to like get Io's back in, but who knows? It could just be a clean. It's WrestleMania, so they might keep the shenanigans to a low, considering there's going to be a ton, presumably during both main events. At least that's my guess, right? So, I buried this, and I'm incredibly excited for the majority of WrestleMania here. This week, it just feels off. It feels like I was so hyped last week, and now I'm like, oh, now it's this weekend, you know? And then I got really hyped about this UFC tonight, and then I don't know. But either way, I'm excited. I'm going to be streaming here on PWT both nights. We're just going to do it, man. So make sure you guys are here for that.